Bang. Welcome to another edition of Gen Sports Corner, back at you for 9-8? No, 9-9. Thursday night football. You know what time it is. I am your host, Jen, with my co-host. Introduce yourself again.
Ryan from Ryan Sportscast. What's going on, yo?
There you go, man. We're in here to talk about football, and I'm gonna talk about a little bit of boxing after we get into this Thursday night game as well. But what's your thoughts? Are you ready for the season to kick off, man?
Yeah, I mean, it's great not only to see the football season start off, but to see the Cowboys get their asses waxed by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because they got no offensive line. 3 of their 5 offensive linemen are injured. And you got an offense like Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which is just nearly unstoppable. Then you got a secondary like the Cowboys, who's absolute trash. So, I mean, yeah, their linebacking core is good, but what good that's going to do when you got Chris Godwin and Mike Evans and Tom Brady to go. So
you made 3 very good points right there off the bat. Just like you mentioned, the big thing that stuck out to me was, they had the injuries, but Zach Martin he's on the COVID exempt list, so he's not going to make it in time. And look, you got we don't know what he's going to look like in game 1. Dak Prescott, off of that horrific leg injury, you're losing your all-pro guard. That's a big deal. You got to deal with Vita Vea and then Ndamukong Suh in the middle. Good luck. Good luck. I don't know who the backup is, but it doesn't matter. They're gonna get destroyed.
I don't even think it's gonna be a good game, bro.
So I'm in a pick'em league, and the spread is 8.5. Well, might be 8. Yeah, I think 8.5 points. Yeah, 8.5 points for Tampa, and then it's 9.5 in Vegas. I'm picking the Bucs to win by 10 points. So I'm going with the spread.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I don't see how they're going to block up the middle. Yeah. That's going to be a big problem. If you get pressure up the 8 gap, it's all but a wrap. And you have Chris Godwin coming in healthy to this game, so he's not out. So you have Chris Godwin, you have Antonio Brown, you have Mike Evans, you have Rob Gronkowski, and I think Ronald Jones. He's still a starting running back, right?
Yeah, I need him to have a big game tonight. I have him on my fantasy squad.
Very nice. Good pickup, man. Very good pickup.
Man, thank you. The only thing that sucks is I'm facing Chris Godwin.
Oh, well, I'd take Ronald Jones over Chris Godwin because the ball's going to be spread around so much. I don't know how involved Scotty Miller is going to be in this offense this year, but he was my sleeper last year. He's my sleeper this year as well. So
yeah,
yeah, and that Dallas defense they're just not good. They weren't good last year. They're not any better. They have a who's who of guys in that defensive backfield.
Yeah, it's nothing special, man. I mean, the one thing they got going about that defense, their linebacking core, they picked up what's his name, first rounder, Mikael Parsons.
Right.
Yeah, picked him up, which is he's a great linebacker. I can't deny that. But what good is that going to do you on the back end when you got those corners covering those receivers? Like it's going to end badly.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's all one in the trenches too, bro. Like, and from what I hear and see, it's the Buccaneers got the edge because there's all those starters out. I believe it's 3 out of 5. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's 3 out of 5 of the starting offensive linemen.
What's going on with Tyron Smith?
That I'm not sure of. Not 100%.
Okay. Yeah, I
just heard there's a good bit of them out.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I looked at the injury report. I didn't see anybody of note on the injury report for the Cowboys. I was kind of surprised that you mentioned 3 out of 5 on the O-line, but I did know about Zach Martin for sure. That's a huge blow for them. And if they have 3 out of 5 guys out on the starting line, then come on, man. You got a guy coming back off of that injury.
Yeah.
If he's even mobile enough to move out of danger, even if he was mobile enough, you don't want free rushers coming in and just teeing off on him. Not that it matters to me, but for the Cowboys, it's not good news.
Nah, not at all. I mean, that's what I heard. Don't quote me on it 100%. I know Zach Martin's definitely out, but I heard 3 out of 5. I could be wrong. Don't quote me. I'm not 100% on that, but
I hear you.
But Zach Martin being out is definitely that's going to be a problem in itself.
Right. Even just that injury, well, not injury, but that guy being out of the lineup by itself to me was a huge red flag if I'm a Cowboys fan, because you can't stop pressure. You have Vita Vea. He was one of the linchpins of that Buccaneers defense last year when he came back from that. I think he had a pec injury or something like that. Came back from that injury, and they were a different team because he was able to eat up two blockers at a time, and that really freed up their pass rushers for one-on-one matchups where they were winning. Jason Pierre-Paul and Dominican Sue. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think they're going to eat today. I mean, they're going to eat on defense. I think on offense, I don't think that Dallas has anything for the Buccaneers. I think Tom Brady might slow down a little bit, but he's still going to look good because all the weapons around him are so much better than what the Dallas defense is going to be able to counteract them with. So it's not really going to make a difference. Whether he loses a little bit of zip on his pass, he's still going to look good, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, Ronald Jones should get his touches tonight, and I think he should have, some pretty good productivity for me. So,
yeah. You have that rookie offensive tackle that they drafted last year. He's another year wiser, another year stronger, another year faster. So they're going to be better there.
Yeah, man, for sure.
So that's my take on that. I have them covering the spread. So our picks are locked in pretty much. That was a quick run through it type of thing. So let's move on to, before we go to the Eagles, let's go to the Raiders, because my team is in some financial straits. There's a tax situation where, we were in a tough position 2-3 years ago when we traded away Khalil Mack because we didn't have enough money squirreled away in escrow to be able to cover his salary. So that's why we had to trade him. Right. And now it seems like those demons are rearing their ugly heads again. It seems like we're in tax trouble now. So there might have been a reason, obviously that was the reason why we moved out to Vegas, I think, among other things, not being able to get the stadium deal done with Oakland and whatnot. But you run from the IRS, but they don't stop, man. You might leave them in the rear view for a little bit, but they just keep running real slow till they catch you. You know what I mean? So it seems like there might be a bit of an issue there. Without any background knowledge of that, what do you think of that potentially happen to an NFL franchise?
It's rough, man. It's definitely rough. Especially when they got so much to invest in. Especially with that team. It's bad, man. It's
really put bad. A lot of money into that new stadium in Vegas. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah. Hopefully they get that squared away in some way, shape, or form, because I really like the squad this year. You have Derek Carr, you have Darren Waller. I mean, you can argue that he is the best tight end in football, him and Travis Kelce.
He's close, man. Him and Travis Kelce and George Kittle. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Give me any of those dudes, I'll be happy.
Yeah. So you got him, and then Henry Ruggs, the third, and then Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs is, you look at him, he's just like, he doesn't look like he's 230, but he's 230, man. He's a bowling ball, he's a wrecking ball. So I'm interested to see what this offense does this year. Defensively,
better use him right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure he will. Gruden at his core is a 3 yards in a cloud of dust type of guy, setting off big shots downfield off play action. That's what he was back in '98 when he built that team up that went to the AFC Championship games year after year, and that's what he is now. He was like that with, the Buccaneers as well. Ironically, since we're talking about them tonight, he was like that with them, and they had absolutely nothing. I mean, that's what he is. So we'll see how they do this year. That being said, let's go ahead and move on to the Eagles and talk about what they're going to do this Sunday coming up. Match up with the Atlanta Falcons.
It's very. I mean, I like the matchup. I mean, especially for them now. Not having any preseason experience. It's not. I mean, it's not. I mean, they are kind of tough. I mean, I don't know. It's hard for me to say. I haven't seen them without Julio Jones.
Right.
So it's like, you don't have Julio Jones, you take him away. You have Calvin Ridley. You have a monster in Kyle Pitts.
Right.
So, I mean, I think he's going to definitely present his problems for the Eagles. And they're going to have trouble containing him until they make their adjustments. But
Right.
and Calvin Ridley too, you got to watch out for because how's he going to pan out as their number one? So
Well, it's going to come down to where Darius Slay is this year, and I think he's going to be a solid player this year. So that's the guy that I'm looking to be on Calvin Ridley, and that's the matchup there.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, I don't see any answer on the Falcons side for our young wide receiving core. They have a who's who of guys in that defensive backfield. They have their first round pick, or he was drafted in the first or the second round in the past 2 years. I don't remember his name at cornerback for the Falcons. And then they have Fabian Monroe, who I didn't even know was still playing in the NFL. We drafted him with the Raiders 9 years ago.
Yeah.
And then they have another guy from like Walmart. So like they don't have anybody. they're rough back there.
Oh, that's bad. I didn't even know it was that bad. Truthfully, yo, I might have to start Devontae Smith now. Now that you tell me that,
I might do that if I was you.
Yeah, because I have him on my. I have Diggs and I have DK Metcalf on Sunday, and my flex.
Oh damn.
Yeah, and my flex, I forget who I have, but I'm pretty stacked at wide receiver.
Yeah, Metcalf and Diggs right there. I mean, that might win you your league.
Yeah, man. And then I got Jones and Chris Carson.
Okay.
And then I got Aaron Rodgers, my quarterback. So
he's squad stacked, man.
Yeah, I did all right, man.
That's more than all right.
Yeah. Might be winning the league, all right?
Yeah. With Diggs, I mean, that right there. I mean, I had Devontae Adams last year, and the only other person that compared to him was Stephon Diggs. So, I mean, you're right there where you need to be. I mean, you're not going to get nobody better than him.
Unfortunately, I have Washington football team defense. But, I mean, that's a good defense. I mean, I can't.
No, that's a good defense. That's not unfortunate at all. They're going to be a good defense. Their offense is.
I just say it because I'm an Eagles fan,
Yeah, you picked them for a reason, though, man. Cut it out.
But they're a good defense. I couldn't pass up on.
Yeah. They're going to be good. I like that front. Hey, at least we got Kerrigan from them. That's one of the wild card. Another wild card for me is how is he coming back from that hand surgery?
He'll be fine. I think
so. I think so. Because that's gonna, for me, I hope that Ryan Kerrigan can be what Chris Long was for us 3 years ago.
Oh yeah,
pass rusher off the bench that is still got thunder under the shoulder pads, and he can make a play that can change the game every other game.
I can't wait to see Brandon Graham again, bro. That's my boy.
Yeah. So that front seven, especially with the linebackers, they're the wild card. We don't know what they're going to be like, but I like Singletary. He's looked really good. He was good last year. He was somebody that came off the radar, and he's been flying around. He's been everywhere. Every time I turn around, 49 is making a tackle, making a play, blowing up something in the backfield, stopping a run for 4 yards instead of 20. He's always doing something. So I really like him.
I like him, bro. Singletary? Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I like him a lot.
And I like Javon Hargraves because he's back healthy off of I think it was the pec injury. He tore the pec last year. And he's back healthy, and he was at times unblockable in that preseason. Unblockable. Oh, yeah. He was playing like the guy that we thought he would be when we paid him coming out of Pittsburgh in free agency. He was exactly that guy this preseason. So if you have him playing like that next to Fletcher Cox, let's go, man. Up the middle, let's go, dog. You can't double nut neither one of them dudes.
Nah.
That changes everything. It changes everything. And that gives more time for Darius Slay and who's their pickup from the Steelers? What's the cornerback's name? I can't remember his name. Steven Nelson.
Nelson. Yes. Steve Nelson.
Yes. So while he's not an all-pro cornerback, he's solid. And if you give those guys time back in coverage where they're not covering for 7 seconds, they're covering for 2.5, 3.5 seconds, changes everything completely.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking at Javon Hargraves to really give you that 1-2 punch in the interior that you didn't have last year because Malik Jackson just did not live up to hype, and the injuries compounded it. If you have that 1-2 punch up the middle, and then you have Brandon Graham getting consistent one-on-ones on the outside, along with Derek Barnett and Brian Kerrigan getting one-on-ones from the outside, it changes everything in terms of getting pressure because that's where we live, that's where we eat, that's where we build our defense. So if they're able to get that pressure with the front four and then have like slightly above average linebackers, not great, but like I think they'll be slightly above average compared to what we had last year. And then
Oh
on
yeah.
the back end, they have Harris, who was a safety for the Vikings last year, to
Mm-hmm.
actually give you some stability.
Right.
And to me, he's an upgrade over Jalen Mills, who was at safety last year. We'll see. So many ifs, so many questions. We're going to
Right.
find out by week 3. I think week 1 and 2, you don't really know what you have. You're figuring yourselves out. You've had a whole year where you haven't been tackling in pads. Guys are going to miss tackles. Every team in the NFL is going to look sloppy out there, making little tic-tac mistakes. But by week 3, you'll see what's what. And
Yeah.
I think this team will be better off on defense than we expect them to be. Whereas with the Cowboys, they don't really have much hope. They know what they are. It ain't no getting better there.
No.
Washington, they're legit with the front seven. They secondary, I don't know. With the front seven, they legit.
Oh yeah. Sure.
And then the Giants, they're I don't know. I don't really have an answer for them at all.
Yeah, me either. I don't even know what to
I think
think
it's between the Eagles, Washington, and then even when Dak was healthy last year, they were 2-3. Think about that.
Yeah.
A healthy Dak, they were 2-3 because his shoulder. Remember, before the knee, it was the shoulder. His shoulder wasn't right. So on top of that, like if his shoulder isn't right, let alone the knee.
That's big. I mean, especially shoulder when you're throwing. Yeah.
So yeah, he didn't look right. He was 2-3 in those starts.
Right.
And he had bright spots, obviously, but he had to run more than he usually does because his shoulder wasn't right, in my opinion.
Yeah, agreed. Absolutely agree.
But, so in my estimation, I don't see the NFC least being. They'll be better, but they're still going to be a dumpster fire, in my opinion. Well, maybe not a dumpster fire, but they're not going to be. They're not going to compare to the NFC South for sure.
No.
Or the NFC North. NFC North and the NFC South will be the two divisions that are leading the NFC this year, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
And the NFC West. I mean, come on, man. You got the Arizona Cardinals they're getting better every year with Kyler Murray. I mean, they're ascending right now. It's clearly obvious where they're going, their trajectory.
Yeah, they're legit.
And then you have the Rams, who you swap out Jared Goff for Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford has been wasting away in Detroit, and now you actually put him on a good team and then take not a bad quarterback, but an average quarterback and put him into the wasteland that Stafford came from. Matt Stafford's going to have a field day out in LA.
Mm-hmm. He's a good quarterback, man. It's just like you said, he's been wasting away in Detroit. So now he has opportunity.
LA Rams, Cardinals, Seahawks. That whole and then even the 49ers now. You have what's the dude's name from North Dakota State?
Trey Lance.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's not going to be a superstar right off the bat, but that 49ers team is going to be halfway decent. It might be they'd be an 8-win team.
Yeah.
So that whole division is stacked. So I mean, NFC East, I don't see a wild card team coming out of NFC East. So whoever wins the division and what's going to be an average, and it could be in the case that it's mediocre. Again, either way, if you come out on top of the division, you give yourself a shot in the playoffs. But it's not going to be. You're not going to be able to compare it to those other divisions, in my opinion.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, so that's the way I see it playing out right now. I don't think the Chiefs are necessarily going to go back this year. I think, me personally, I think it's the Browns, the Bills, Ravens. Mm-hmm. Those are the three teams.
Ravens?
Oh yeah, Ravens. It's a matter of time.
I don't know. I'm not. It's a matter of time. I want to get your take on this.
Yeah.
Steve and I mentioned on the first take. He said he doesn't think Lamar Jackson is an elite quarterback because of his accuracy. And his arm, he's special.
Yeah.
But he's not. In order to be, send at a Super Bowl level, he feels like you have to have the arm to do it.
I disagree. I disagree. Because, he's never going to have the arm that Pat Mahomes has. However, his running ability
Mm-hmm.
players have to come out of position to account for him. And by coming out of position, he doesn't have to be as if you're in coverage, you have to turn your head for a split second or take a step or increase the gap between you and the receiver by 2-3 yards to try to just account for the fact that Lamar Jackson might scramble outside. That's all he needs to be able to make that throw and not be nearly as accurate as some of these other guys need to be. He doesn't need to be, because come on, man, like we've seen it time and time again. Michael Vick, same criticism. However, how many times did he go to the playoffs and then to the NFC Championship game against that Eagles team? And he had Algie Crumpler on offense. Come on, bro. That was his
better arm. he had a better arm.
He did. I give you that. But he had Algie Crumpler.
Well, right? Yeah, I can't deny that, bro.
That's all he had on offense. And Randall Cunningham.
Right.
Randall Cunningham had a better arm than Lamar Jackson, but didn't go as far as Lamar Jackson. You know why? Because he didn't even have a line. Lamar actually has a line. And who did Randall have on offense? He had Freddie Barnett. He had Keith Byers. And who else? Exactly. I don't know their names.
Yeah, I don't even know.
So you don't need. I'm not saying he's making it easier on himself by not improving his accuracy, but to say that it's easy to say that you can't win a Super Bowl with a running quarterback, quote unquote, who doesn't have the best accuracy because we haven't seen it yet. But okay, look at Mike Vick when he came back from the dogfighting scandal and whatnot. Completely different player. I'm actually going to give you two scenarios. Mike Vick came back from the dogfighting scandal with the Eagles. Kevin Cobb got hurt. Michael Vick is thrown into the fray. Actually spent time studying the playbook, learning how to read defenses to be an NFL caliber quarterback. And he was a completely different player. Like, he was unrecognizable, not from a physical standpoint, but from a mental standpoint. And he wasn't even the same guy.
No.
But he still had his legs under him. He was able to pick apart defenses while still having that threat to put the fear of God into defenses.
Oh, now, for sure.
That was at the age of what, 29, 30, 31. Now flip that on his head and look at Randall Cunningham when he was 37. Fast forward from like 29 all the way up to 37. Didn't have the running ability, but went out to the Minnesota Vikings. Brad Johnson gets injured. He gets thrown into the fray, has Randy Moss and Chris Carter at wide receiver, along with Robert Smith at running back. And people will say, yeah, well, he was just lobbing the ball up to Randy Moss all day. No. He was a better quarterback at that point. Right? Because, yeah, I mean, obviously you have a Hall of Famer at wide receiver. However, he was able to read defenses and break them down. That's the reason why that team went 15-1. If he just was able to launch the ball, they might have been a 10-win team, 11-win team, but they wouldn't have been 15-1. There are levels to this. So, and it took him time to be able to adjust his game and get to that point. So the point that I'm saying is that Lamar Jackson, even though they're saying, well, he has to be more accurate, he can get more accurate. That can come with time. You can't teach Superman shit, being able to run. He's either going to ascend to the level that a Randall Cunningham or Mike Vick did, or Steve Young as he got wiser, or he's going to turn into a Cam Newton who has the physical talents but never developed the accuracy. And then over time, once the physical talents eroded, he never had the accuracy to make up for it. So it's going to be one or the other. I just think that he's going to be more to the side of a Steve Young and a Mike Vick later in his career than a Cam Newton. That's just my opinion. Because he's only 24?
Yeah, he's young as shit, bro.
Like, come on. Like, y'all, like I'm not you in particular, but like
Stephen A.
Look, they have a show to sell. They have ratings to make. I get it. However, it's a little bit disingenuous to think that Lamar Jackson, who actually shows the will and the passion to get better, won't get better versus, perfect segue, a Ben Simmons who doesn't really care about developing his jump shot, even though he has one. See, like those are two very different scenarios, right?
Oh,
Lamar
absolutely.
Jackson doesn't necessarily have the accuracy, but to say he's inaccurate is also disingenuous. He's not inaccurate. He's just not, he's spotty.
Yeah,
But there'll be
he's
times
hit or
where he
miss.
misses a receiver, but there'll be times where he threads the needle. So it's
Yeah,
not for lack of ability. That comes with repetition and just putting in the work, putting in the hours.
he'll get better.
Right, exactly. You have to have the drive to want to do it versus a Ben Simmons. I've seen him shoot jump shots. I've seen him shoot three
Yeah,
pointers. He can do it. He just mentally he doesn't want to. There's nothing you can do about that. You can't
he's
coach
lazy.
that. You can't uncoach that.
Yeah, he's just lazy, bro. That's how I see it.
Mentally weak, not lazy, but mentally weak. I've
Yeah,
seen the work ethic.
that's
He
a
works
better
hard,
word.
but
Yeah,
mentally weak.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're right. I give you that. Definitely.
yeah. So I think the Ravens, the Bills, Browns, those are the three teams that I see. The Chiefs going to be there every year,
Oh, Chiefs for
but
sure, yeah.
I think I listen to those three teams, and I
Mhm.
think the Ravens obviously going to be there. But to me, the Bills, that's the
The
team.
Bills. I
The
think the
Bill,
Bills is like the real deal.
they're back. They're back.
Mhm. Yeah, watch out for them, man.
Yeah, I think
Josh
that
Allen, pick.
I think they'll be the bold prediction. I think they'll be the next Super Bowl winner out of the AFC. I don't know what year, but I think they're the next one.
Me too. I
That
agree.
that defense, that running game, Josh Allen. I mean,
MVP, bro. He's gonna be MVP this year, in my opinion.
ooh, that's a bold prediction. Okay, we'll note that down.
We'll see. But I like Josh Allen this year, man. He's gonna take it that next level leap.
I like him better than Lamar Jackson as an overall quarterback.
Yeah, me too.
Not as athletic, but
Nah,
you can't let him get
definitely
out the
not.
pot. Yeah, but I mean, it's just like comparing a Ferrari to a Camaro. Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
Ferrari is super fast, but
that's a good comparison. Yeah,
yeah, right. A
yeah,
Camaro is still not a Honda Civic, right?
yeah.
You know what I
That's the
mean?
one thing about Lamar, man. Like his just fucking the way he makes people look silly and miss, man. Like he gets more accurate, bro. I'm telling you, it's a wrap. Like
Hmm.
even like what the ability has had, I still think they could get there. Like it's only a matter of when, you know. Add a couple
Agree.
more pieces. You know, I just think they need a couple more pieces. I think they're ready.
Yeah, they just need a wide receiver.
Yeah, that's what I think. They need a
They either
receiver.
need one guy to step up, i.e., Hollywood Brown, or they need another receiver from the outside, one or the other.
Agreed. Yeah, they got their tight end and Mark Andrews.
Yeah,
They have Hollywood Brown, and then what's his name? You just need one more.
yeah,
I,
exactly.
I think they just lost their two running backs.
Yeah, I think Le'Veon Bell's going to be a starter. What you think?
Yeah, I agree. They
I
ain't
think
got
they
no
put
one
him.
else.
Yeah, they put him on the practice. They signed him to the practice squad to give themselves time for them to clear a roster spot for him. I think that's the formality.
It's crazy though. Like the same day, what was it? A torn ACL on their fear on Marcus Peters and Gus Bradley. Or no, what's his name? Gus Edwards.
Gus Edwards. Yeah,
Yeah, so that's crazy. It happened at the same practice.
that's freakish.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they have Marcus Peters, who's their other Jimmy Smith? Is that the other corner?
I think so. I'm pretty sure it is.
Okay,
He's still there.
I think so.
I know that's their other corner.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Jimmy Smith's definitely their other corner.
Right. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see. That's some big injuries right there.
For sure.
Yeah, so that's my thoughts on football. I have the Eagles over the Falcons coming up this Sunday. I have the Bucks beating the Cowboys by 10 plus points tonight. And then, we kind of talked about what we saw coming out of the NFC, what were the best divisions, and then what were the teams to come out of the AFC, the dark horse teams, and then which team, for me, it was the Buffalo Bills. As for you,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely
who
the Bills. I got the
right.
Bills. NFC. Oof. Who do you think a sleeper team this year is, man? Chargers?
Well, for the NFC or NFL?
NFL in general.
NFL in general.
Chargers? I like the Chargers.
If Derwin James is healthy, I would say that could be a dark horse team.
Yeah, that's what I think.
That when he went down at safety, that really hurt them. But Justin Herbert's the truth. I had him on my fantasy team. I know for sure.
Yeah, you were happy every week.
Absolutely. Come on, man. I had him, Tom Brady. Then I picked up Jalen Hurts later
Damn,
on.
bro.
Yeah, I torched him.
You did all right.
Yeah, I got my championship, man. I got my trophy in the crib.
It's good, man. You bringing in another one?
That's the plan, man.
Yeah, I'm with you, bro.
Look, they don't win until I leave, like Jordan. As soon as I come back to 4 or 5,
I like that attitude, bro.
I play to win, man. They know what time it is. So,
yeah.
What was your team name last year? For your main team, what was your team name? Your main league.
Oh, in fantasy?
Yeah.
It was, last year it was Team Pennsylvania, and it's still Team Pennsylvania because I can't figure out how to change the damn name.
Yeah. That name did not age well.
No, it really didn't.
Yeah, my team name was Come Catch This Fade.
Oh, yeah? I dig it.
Yeah, and then my team name the year before that was It's Almost Over.
Oh.
So yeah, It's Almost Over. I had a picture of the Joker, Joaquin Phoenix, and then Come Catch This Fade, I had a picture of EDP 445.
Oh shit.
His mugshot did not age well at all.
Nah.
Oh well, it was good while it lasted.
This year, bro.
Yeah. I don't know what my name's gonna be this year. I think it's something clever.
I gotta change it, man.
Yeah, you'll figure it out.
ASAP.
Yeah, I gotta think of something. Cause I'm a league champion. I gotta think of something that shows like lightheartedness, but shows my dominance from last year. I need to assert myself in the hierarchy.
Yeah, man. You definitely need to do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna think of something. But yeah, that's what I have for football, and then I want to touch on boxing. Because there was a big scandal. First off, there's a fight coming up this week. Somehow Evander Holyfield is fighting Vitor Belfort from the MMA, from UFC, former UFC fighter.
Evander Holyfield's fighting?
Yeah.
Oh shit! I'm gonna have to watch this fight.
Yeah. So originally it was supposed to be Oscar De La Hoya versus Vitor. You remember Vitor Belfort from UFC?
Who?
Vitor Belfort.
Not really, no.
He had a knockout against, I don't remember who it was, but he had like a front kick to the face on some dude. It was like a highlight for the decade.
Right.
But yeah, he's from an MMA martial artist big in the UFC, and he was supposed to fight Oscar De La Hoya, who was making like a comeback run after he saw Mike Tyson do his thing. But Oscar came down with COVID, with the bug, excuse me. I don't want to like put out the buzzwords. He came out with the bug last week, and he got the Delta variant, and he was vaccinated. He had a breakthrough case, and he had a video up on the net of him in the hospital. He seemed like he was doing okay, but he was like, man, this thing kicked my ass, man. Like he just done. So you know, that was that. And the fill-in for him was Evander Holyfield. I'm just like, you know, I'm intrigued, man. I just want to see it, man. I
gotta watch it now, man. Now you say Evander Holyfield. This for it. Yeah, Tyron Smith's playing.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry to switch topics. I just had to verify that because I got TV on.
Nah, you're good. It ain't gonna make a difference.
But yeah, back to boxing.
Yeah, so that fight's coming up. What was it, September 10th, 11th? It might be this Friday or Saturday. It's either this weekend or next weekend. That's when the fight is. And then
I'll be checking it out.
There's a fight coming up this weekend. Oscar Valdez versus Hobson Concheco. He's Latin American fighter. I can't remember what country he's from, but there was a big scandal that came out this past week because Oscar Valdez, who also trains with the same trainers as Canelo Alvarez, he came up positive for performance enhancing drugs or banned substance, right?
Oh wow.
So he came up positive for a substance called phentermine. So it is a derivative of amphetamine.
Mhm.
And typically people use this as a weight loss supplement. They use this to suppress your appetite as well as increase energy. So while you're eating less because you're not as hungry, you're working out more because you have more energy from this drug. So it's like it has a dual purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes sense, especially if you're a boxer, you're trying to cut weight. So that would make perfect sense. And as you're cutting weight, phentermine increases your energy level, so you're able to work through the weight cut, so to speak, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're
Right.
eating less carbs, less calories, you're going to have less energy, so to speak, theoretically. So if you're able to do something to boost your energy levels, that would be beneficial to you. So he got caught for that. So by the testing agency called VADA, the Voluntary Anti-Doping Agency, and they're typically the most stringent testing agency that you can get in terms of drug testing, even
Mm-hmm.
more so than USADA or WADA, which is the World Anti-Doping Agency. USADA is the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency, not to be confused with the federal agency. They're not. That's just their name. And so he got caught for that. However, he's still being allowed to fight. He tested positive for his A sample as well as his B sample. So they test you for your A sample, you test positive for that, then they test your B sample. They take two samples. So they test your B sample just to confirm a positive result, just in case there was some slip up in protocol or whatnot.
Right.
However, both samples tested positive. So it's like, okay, he shouldn't be fighting. However, he is still fighting this weekend. You know why? Because that's boxing. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, dude, the World Anti-Doping Agency, WADA, their protocol is so VADA, they caught him, but they don't decide whether you fight or not.
Mm-hmm.
The athletic commission that is sanctioning the fight, they decide what rules they're going to use, and they're going by WADA's protocol, which says that unless you test positive on the night of the fight, which means 11:59 p.m. So I think the fight's tomorrow. So 11:59 tonight, theoretically, right? If the fight's tomorrow, 11:59 p.m. tonight. If you tested positive anytime between 11:59 p.m. tonight all the way up to the time of the fight, which is probably going to be 11 p.m. tomorrow, then they could call the fight off. But if you test positive anywhere outside of that window, you're good, which makes no sense to me. Because
Yeah.
theoretically, that guy could be taking this drug for who knows how long, and then maybe a week out from the fight to stop taking it. And then even if he tests positive, they can't stop the fight anyway if the commission's going to allow it, which is
Right.
crazy to me. So
Yeah.
it's a facade. They had the WBC clean boxing program, and if this is the way that they're operating, it's a complete facade, completely false that they're trying to clean up the sport and promote competitive integrity. Complete
Right.
bullshit.
Yeah,
No,
it
no,
is.
no. You allow people to do what they want when they want, and if they're a certain level of fighter, then they have a certain level of influence of what they can and can't get away with.
Right.
You don't see this in the UFC nearly as much. You see it sometimes. Like every entity is corrupt, in my opinion, to a certain extent. But the UFC, you don't get away with those things nearly as much as you do in boxing. There's just no oversight as to what guys are doing. And there was a big scandal with Canelo Alvarez. So the trainers that were training Oscar Valdez, the Venoso brothers, same people that trained Canelo Alvarez. And there was a big scandal 3-4 years ago in a fight against Triple G where Canelo tested positive for clenbuterol, which is a beta agonist. It functions to relax the airway smooth muscle. And I happen to know about this now because I'm actually working in a respiratory laboratory. So now I really know about these things even more so than I knew even when I was really kind of like doing my own personal research, a few
Mhm.
years back. Now I just know more. Not like whenever I hear Buterol, I just think of beta agonist, airway smooth muscles relaxing, and that's going to help you breathe better. Obviously, for people that have asthma, but that's also going to increase blood flow. So what's that going to do? It's going to help you if you gas out after 6 rounds. Those type of drugs are going to help you with your stamina. That was
Yeah.
always a problem with Canelo. So like, it's no
Right.
wonder he's taking allegedly clenbuterol, and that's
Mhm.
going to aid him from being an 8-round fighter to being a 12-round fighter, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, you got to think like what's going on in this camp with these trainers. Are all these fighters training under him doing some type of stuff? Is this a repetitive pattern?
Yeah, man, it's not good.
No, it is not. So I'm actually going to make a detailed video on that.
Mhm.
I made a detailed video years back on Canelo and that whole scandal, where I went through all the way down to the concentrations of the drug in the bloodstream, breaking it down on a scientific level. Because
Right.
people make excuses here, here and there, and especially fanboys, they don't want to hear nothing. Look, I know what a half-life is. I know things about drug metabolism, pharmacokinetics. You're not going to tell
Right.
me what I don't know. Like, facts
Yeah,
are facts.
the facts are facts.
Facts over feelings, bro. Don't care
Yeah.
about your feelings. You may look. I like Canelo. I was a fan, but
Mhm.
just because you like a person, when the facts are put right in front of your face, you have to take the dick out of your mouth and actually see things for what they are.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, bro, facts are facts.
Yeah, man. Exactly. So that's kind of what it is. That's one of the big things going on in boxing right now. I think that there's another fight coming up. So I think that Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, it's going to be back on eventually. I haven't done enough research, but I have seen information about Deontay Wilder doing extra weight training, and so like they're heading back up to that fight. And then
Yeah,
on
man.
the other side of things, you have Anthony Joshua, who's the other side of the coin with the other belts, right?
Mhm.
And that's a big fight coming up now because he's fighting a fighter called Alexander Usyk, and he's phenomenal. I
Right.
don't know how phenomenal he's going to be at heavyweight, but at cruiserweight, 185, he was undisputed. He's the only undisputed cruiserweight in history, if
Right.
I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
I mean, that's history in itself. He could be a Hall of Fame just off that.
Yeah, man.
I mean, he
I
ran
mean,
through
I
that
like to
division.
see him.
Yeah. So I mean, if he's able to carry up a significant amount of power up to heavyweight and not be like too light, he's going to give Joshua problems. And you think Anthony Joshua lost to Andy Ruiz. Like, you remember that knockout? We got knocked out by Andy Ruiz.
Mhm.
Andy
Actually,
Ruiz,
I don't think I saw that fight.
yeah, Andy Ruiz became the first Mexican heavyweight by knocking out, not cold, but stopping Anthony Joshua 2 years ago.
Mhm.
And then Joshua came back and won all 3 belts back from Andy Ruiz. But
Right.
Alexander Usyk, man, he, Vasil Lomachenko, Triple G, he's in that vein. Like, the skills is nasty. Boy,
Sweet.
nice. Them Eastern Bloc Ukrainian fighters is no joke. So that's a fight I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, you got me in the boxing, man. I mean, pretty soon, give it like 3 or 4 more months. Me and you will both be on the same level talking about it. I'll be able to chop it up with you a little bit more about it, but I'm
Uh-oh.
still gaining my knowledge on it. But
Did
yeah,
you
I definitely been checking it out more.
did you hear about the fight with Manny Pacquiao and Ugas?
That was a really good fight.
Yeah, yeah.
That fight intrigued me. I was a bit upset Pacquiao lost because I love Manny Pacquiao,
Hmm.
but it was a really great fight. I watched that fight.
Yeah, that's the one I was telling you about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I had it. What did I had it? I think I had it 8-4 for Ugas. I think that was my score. What about you?
That sounds about right. I didn't give it an exact score, but I just felt like Ugas won that fight. He definitely he surprised me, man. Truthfully, I just didn't know much about the dude, but he was good, man. In the
Yeah,
ring, he was. his jabs and his uppercuts, and he looked good.
Yeah, I've seen him before, and that's why I was really excited to tell you about him. And it was a great fight. I thought that Manny Pacquiao, people were just like, he's getting old. I'm just like, he fought his ass off, man.
Nah,
He was
he did
throwing
good. Yeah,
shots.
they both.
Ugas was able to block a lot of them and land enough shots of his own to really take the fight.
Yeah, they went to war, bro. That was a
Yeah.
good fight.
That
We
being
got
said,
money for it.
I would say that's the first fighter I've seen in years actually legitimately win against Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah.
And that includes Floyd Mayweather. For me, I thought it was a draw in that fight. I didn't see stylistically. I just believe that both of them canceled each other out, and it was not a good fight to watch aesthetically.
No, it wasn't.
Manny had spots where he hurt Floyd. Floyd had spots where he landed shots, but not nearly as many as I thought he did looking back at the replay. And neither one of them was really able to. Manny tried to press action and Floyd didn't want it. And they just kind of ran around circles and they just kind of danced for 12 rounds like a waltz. Yeah. It's like, okay. But like this fight, that was a war. And Ugas was able to have 2 strong rounds where he's able to separate himself. And I just thought it was a great fight.
It was. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I give Manny kudos for fighting the best. Hell, he's going to fight Earl Spence. Earl Spence is the boogeyman at 147. Yeah. And hopefully he's okay because he had the detached retina.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's why that fight, it was supposed to be him against Spence, and then he had the detached retina. He probably got it during sparring.
Yeah, probably.
And that's a whole nother story within itself. But he tried to fight Spence, and then his backup option on a week's notice was Ugas, who people never heard of him. But like I remember him when he fought Sean Porter. I'm just like, I thought he beat Sean Porter, so I already knew who this guy was for sure.
Right.
Like the Cuban ain't no joke. I mean, he's not flashy. He's kind of like straight up and down, no special effects, but he just does a lot of things very well.
Well, yeah, for sure. He did. I mean, good combinations, and I mean, he showed me a lot. Like I was like, damn, this dude can go.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I have for boxing. That's what I have for NFL. Game time's getting ready to come up, and I would like nothing more than to see the Cowboys get their cheeks clapped tonight. So
yeah, opening night of football. Cowboys lose. You can't ask for a better night than that, bro.
Absolutely, man. So I think that's where we'll end this episode. It was a pleasure, having another great episode with you, my dude.
Yeah, no doubt, man. A great episode.
We'll convene and talk about NFL Week 1 and what happened during this first week.
Oh, for sure, man. We'll chop it up next week too.
No doubt. It's another episode. I'm your host, Jen. This is my co-host Ryan from Ryan Sportcast.
Yeah.
We out.
Yeah.